States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Board of Health. Approval of minutes, August 28th, 2018.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes for August 28th, 2018.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
301. Thank you. Citizen time. Anyone here who is not on the agenda who has issues or concerns to bring before the board? Discussion. Plumbing variance recommendation, Darden Restaurants, 50 South Avenue. Coming up, please sign in, give us your name. Is this you, Marlene, or is this the director?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening.
My name is Chris Barlow. I am with Darden, who represents Eddie V's. We own a group of different restaurants, and
Great. Welcome,
Eddie
Ms.
V's
Barlow.
is one of them.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Director.
Yes, so Eddie V's will be installing 13 individual restrooms in their location at 50 South Ave. Each is going to have its own toilet. So under the plumbing code, each individual restroom is going to have a floor drain. And under the plumbing code, it requires that an individual restroom have a hose connection with a backflow preventer. So they would like to get a plumbing variance to not have to have those individual hose connections in each one of these individual toilet locations. The hose connection would be for cleaning purposes.
So I read this, I saw the schematics. Can you just explain the 13 individual bathrooms?
Absolutely. So this is a little bit of uncharted territory for us in that we typically have had men's, women's, and a family room restroom. We've kind of started getting up to the times, and one of the popular trends is to have individual restrooms, so anybody that needs it can use it upon demand and not have to wait. So what we ended up designing here was 13 individual, including 2 separate ADA compliant compartments that will service the guests of the restaurant. Typically what we do is we have a floor drain for each one. We have trap primers to each one. They're individual framed walls. They're not toilet compartments like, for instance, like a partition wall that's open underneath. So completely enclosed compartments. What we didn't foresee is the request that each individual stall have its own individual hose bib. So what we're asking is that we provide 1 or 2 centrally located hose bibs that service all 13 compartments. And the reasoning for that is just, I guess, learning and interpreting the code specific to Massachusetts that distinguishes, or there's a difference between fixtures and toilets. We read it as 2 toilets per space, whereas as I'm understanding, the plumbing inspector that was out there interpreted the floor drain as an additional fixture. So we have a sink, we have a toilet, and we have a drain.
That's more than 2, yeah.
Yeah, and so he or she is interpreting it as 3 fixtures, where we're interpreting it as 2 fixtures. From a practical standpoint, it doesn't make, it's beyond the cost-wise, it's just, I'll be absolutely honest with you, everybody here, the reality is they're not going to unhook and clean each individual stall. What Darden does over and above just having them in place is we have a total quality program that requires the managers of the restaurant to uphold a certain level of cleanliness, that it's an additional level over and above any health inspections, both for kitchen and restrooms. It's an additional level of check and balance to make sure that the facilities are up to par for somebody that's coming in and spending regardless of how much they spend, coming in and visiting our restaurant. So again, that's how we see it. from the interpretation of the code, we're asking for a variance based on that, just from a practical standpoint, but also from an interpretation standpoint of fixtures versus toilets.
And the 13 is derived from the number of
Based on an occupancy
seating,
load? Yeah, yes, sir.
So that helps me, because I didn't, I mean, obviously, we're not all plumbers here, so I didn't get this, so now I understand a little bit more. Questions for Mr. Barlow?
Just have two. First, do you have a family, is there a family toilet with a changing table?
The ADA compliant restrooms are considered, and they're marked as, we have a sign that's M for, actually, that one would be for F for family. And it's also got a baby changing table in it.
So F for family, are there Ms and, are they male and female?
That's why I stuttered for a moment. Typically, I would say yes, but no. In this specific case, each one is going to be unisex.
It's gender neutral.
So there'll be 11 unisex, 2 essentially unisex, but would be considered family restrooms that are also have all the ADA compliant clearances and radiuses needed for approach to the baby changing table, the whole 9 yards.
Do you have to mark those handicapped?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. The ADA requirements note that we have to, because the other stalls, the other 11, do not have to be ADA compliant. We only have to provide 2 ADA compliant compartments, and so we have to mark it accordingly. So the sign has to be a certain distance from the floor, braille, the whole shoot match. You said 2 questions. Did I miss one?
I guess when you said it's gonna be marked handicapped, how would someone how would they know, a family who needs to go in and change their baby, know that?
It's marked, yeah, there's
It's gotta be
appropriate
marked
signage at the
handicapped,
door
a
that's marked as such. Yes, sir.
Okay, what will it be marked, do you know?
There's a symbol that shows that there is
Okay, you're gonna use a symbol, yeah, okay.
yes, sir. And then it's
I
also
understand.
written in text, and it's also in braille.
Now, the second question here is, for the hose connections that you're going to have, are they in a bathroom, or are they outside of a bathroom?
We would prefer them to be in both, just because of how it lays out. There is one family restroom back-to-back in the middle, and so from a proximity standpoint and a cleaning standpoint, it makes the most sense to have those hose bib connections in the 2 family restrooms,
Okay.
because they're centrally located.
They're central, okay, so centrally located.
Yes, sir, and then the non-compliant ADA restrooms flank each side, left and right.
And they're going to have a backflow preventer on those?
Yes, sir, and trap
Okay.
primers for every restroom has its own drain with a trap primer
Okay.
to make sure that we're all set there.
And having only 2 of the hose, that's sufficient for 13?
Yeah, we're not,
I'm thinking about
Again,
the code,
from a-
I'm thinking, you know.
that I can't
So-
say 100% from a distance standpoint, but I can tell you from a proximity standpoint and a reality standpoint, they're gonna hook it up one time, and they're going to clean from that one location, and it's no more than 25 feet to any one of those compartments.
But it is conceivable the plumbing inspector could tell you that you need 2 more, kind of thing. I mean, for 13 rooms that you would need, because you're going from what the plumbing inspector is going to be saying, each room having a hose, now to just 2 hoses for 13 rooms. So it is conceivable that the plumbing inspector says, well, you need to have 4
Yeah,
hoses for the facility.
we're willing to entertain the discussion, certainly.
Okay, yeah.
13, one in each one, beyond the cost, and there's a significant cost to that, it's just not practical, and I'd be lying to you if I
we get
told
it.
you that.
And you also understand that we aren't the NSA to
Understood.
anything. We are just, our concern purely is for the public health. And that's why I say to the director, do we have any concerns here, public health-wise, for this to be the case regarding the reduction of hose number?
No, I don't, because I believe that, and when they say that they can properly clean with the 2 hoses, that they can. One thing I wanted to say, though, is that it would be the state plumbing board that might come back and say, oh, you need
Right,
4
right.
instead of 2.
Thank you,
Did
thank
not,
you.
has our plumbing inspector have any opinion on this whatsoever? Have you talked to him at all?
I haven't talked to him, no.
Okay.
So I think it's mainly just a plumbing code
Right.
type thing.
Yep.
So,
And we've had some good luck, and we've had some not so good luck.
Yeah.
With the state plumbing inspector's office. So,
This is taking on the Macaroni Grill, the old Macaroni Grill spot?
Yes,
Correct.
yes,
Yeah?
Is this Eddie
I have
V's?
no problem with this.
yes.
50, that's 56.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
that's Macaroni Grill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the old Macaroni Grill. And soon the Chili's will be next. I'm building a yard house, just not down the road. The old Chili's will be my next. So I'll be in Boston for quite a bit.
Well, we'll look forward to new memories
Good.
with the families.
We're excited to be here. We've already got 2 concepts right here, the Seasons 52 and the Capitol Grill, and we're excited to be in town.
Seasons 52 Capitol Grill, have you heard of those?
Mr. Chairman,
Chair, we're very happy you're here
When
in
is
in
Eddie V's
Burlington.
opening? Do you know?
Eddie V's will open end of, grand open, it will be end of April.
will you need any other well, we can ask that question later, but I move that we approve the variance for the Mass Plumbing Code 248 CMR 10.10, Section 818, toilet facilities, general.
Do you mind if we change that motion to, I
Recommendation.
offer, to no objection to the request for a variance?
Is it a recommendation or is it an
It
objection?
is a recommendation,
right.
yeah,
So-
so.
So I move that we recommend.
The,
No.
the, move that the board vote no objection to the request for a variance.
It's all right. I have no
Are
problem.
you okay with that?
I have no
Second.
problem with that.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Welcome again back to Boston.
Thank you. It's good to be
Burlington,
here.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Any
Thank you
other
very much. Have a
variances
good
for these?
evening, everybody.
Thank you, you too.
Is that the letter?
There you go.
Clairvoyant.
It needs to be repeated, the motion?
Huh?
She needs the motion repeated, the wording of the
I
motion.
Oh,
move, I move that we recommend a variance.
No.
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 No,
I
well,
move that we, oh, now I've lost it.
We
We
rec-
I need a,
offer no
I need a
objection to-
recommendation that the board vote to offer no objection to the request for a
Okay.
variance.
I didn't have it.
Does anybody move?
well, is the variance to
So moved.
us?
No, the
No.
variance would become from the state.
No objection to the
That's the
request
state.
for a
Okay,
variance.
It's request.
That's fine.
Say so moved.
So moved, we've already done it.
Yeah,
Second.
she just needed the wording of the.
Okay, very good.
So if you offered an objection, he could still go to the state plumbing board.
Correct.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, just the state planning board would go, but the Board of Health offered an objection.
So if I could ask one last question.
No, you can't, we're all
Oh, we're
done.
done.
What's the next step for me? Is I need to then, I take this this recommendation for no objection.
Yeah, so that application that you filled out for the variance goes to the state plumbing board.
Okay.
So you send in that application, then they'll give you a date or time where you go before them to get the variance, and you would bring that letter with you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks, you
good
too.
night.
Yes, you too.
Okay, what else
So
we have in the hopper?
I was just wondering, there's no grease trap issue?
No, they're putting in an external, so.
Oh, they're putting a big,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, they have to.
Yeah,
They're
because
brand-
because they are going to have fog.
lots of it.
Yes, yes, but it's gonna be good fog. All right, discussion, 2019 Board of Health meeting schedule. Oh, look at all those pretty dates. So I never know what to say about this, except I have no objection.
This-
just
this
as long
follows
as
the
we're
same-
not
Mine,
interfe-
it's the
not
usual
interfering with any
pattern.
specific holidays, et cetera.
Yep, there's 2 at the bottom, the October 8th and December 24th, no meeting. So usually it's the second and fourth Tuesday of the month.
Of course, December 10th is 2 weeks before Christmas Eve. Is that something?
Say again?
Shopping wise, no? David's gotta go shopping. All right, so, we don't need a motion to this, do we? Just to say, and everybody
yeah,
say
as long
yes,
as you-
everybody
yeah.
good?
I-
Is
I'll
there-
make a motion to approve the 2019 Board of Health meeting schedule.
Okay.
Second.
There, we got a motion, we got an approval, any further discussion, seeing all in favor?
Aye.
Aye to the meeting schedule. I look forward to seeing you all there. I'm sorry?
If you're reelected.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. If it's in the town, if the town wishes for me and
Us.
you to continue, then that is fine.
Absolutely.
All right, environmental engineer report. Good evening, Christine.
Good evening. A couple quick things. We can finally forget about mosquitoes till next year. We've had a couple hard frosts, obviously. It was a record year for human West Nile virus cases at 44. And the last highest one was in 2012 with 33 cases. So,
But nothing in Burlington.
no individual, just statewide, that was statewide, 44 cases. And then one update with regard to the ongoing bunker survey at Northeastern. The structural engineers have completed their entry into the bunkers and conducted their concrete testing. They then decided that they wanted to do structural testing on the steel girders that apparently run around the tops of the bunkers, and that is underway at this point.
Did you go in? Have you been in?
I did not go in.
Are you going in?
I'm not gonna go in.
You need trainings.
I would have to get renewed confined space entry training to go in.
Really?
Yep,
Wow.
Really?
Have you seen pictures or anything of what
Oh,
it looks
yep.
like inside?
yeah. Murky, big,
There's nothing in
Damp.
there. They've taken everything out.
yeah.
Everything's out.
But it's just amazing. That's where missiles were held. It's just, it's amazing.
So,
Wow.
the study's ongoing, but they hope in a couple of weeks we'll have the final report.
That's great.
Okay. Very, very
That,
very
any
interesting.
questions?
Dr. Weyer, questions
Just
for
one
environmental engineer?
comment. Under MCP environmental reports, you gave us an update, which I haven't seen in a long time, for Van de Graaff Drive, the former Bellafram and high voltage site. And your dad and I worked on this for many years, and I was just excited to see, and I did some calculation, that an average of 88% decrease in all of the VOCs, 88%. They've been pumping and treating since 1994 or 1995, and it was probably the worst site we have ever seen here on the board. And if you look at it now, TCE is down 93%, and I never thought we would get that low, and we are that low, so thank you for this report.
Did you see the history at the back of it?
Yes.
On the high voltage site
Yes.
50 years ago? That was
I
interesting.
like that. But we still have the 1,4-dioxane issue.
Oh.
You haven't given us, well, you did give us numbers, but I don't know what they were at the beginning, because we probably didn't test for it in 1994, 1995.
No.
So, anyway, thank you very much.
Do you think that the concentrations from June 2018 will significantly continue to improve, or are we reaching kind of an asymptote?
No, I mean, there is a very slow and steady decline over at that site still, and it's, as Dr.
At what
Weiner
point
pointed out.
At what point is the remediation complete, for numbers-wise?
Every 5 years, they have to do an update as to the effectiveness of the remedial action. And under the MCP, they go through and say, if they have to get to a level of no significant risk, that's the goal, and/or background, which probably, may or may not happen in this case, but they may get to no significant risk. But where you still have some numbers above the GWA1 standard, you're not there yet.
Okay.
I mean, for people who are watching, there was one number here which that you said, the total VOC mass removed from the site to date is 4,686 pounds. I mean, more than 2 tons of
Worth of-
material came out of the groundwater.
Yep.
I think that's just scary.
Yeah.
So, anyway, thank you for that. Any other questions for our environmental engineer? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve her report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconding for the discussion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Thank you very much, Christine. Health agent, good evening, good evening, Marlene.
Good evening. Just to update the board, the food permits have all been sent into our office, and everybody has a new permit. And the food service establishment inspections are on schedule. And the sale of tobacco permit suspensions on the two retailers, I did go in and check periodically to make sure that there was no sale of tobacco products. And in fact, today, the manager from the town pantry called me just to verify that he could sell tobacco again starting tomorrow, which is true. So that went smoothly. And in my report, you might have seen a letter that was sent to the Academy of Creative Arts. We found out that they were advertising for a camp, and they weren't permitted by us. So I reached out to them, and I did get a response from Dr. Joshi and her husband, who are the owners, and we're setting up an appointment, probably for early 2019, to discuss permitting for the next camp season.
So it's just like an art camp? What kind of?
It is, they do various types of art, they do painting and dance and different activities for the kids.
I did see that. All right. Any questions for our health agent? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to accept her report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconding for the discussion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0, thank you. Marlene? Director?
Yeah, so, just an update on the flu clinic numbers. So we gave out 547 vaccines. Last year, we gave out 511.
God, it seems like we gave out so many more than just that.
Yeah, it wasn't that much more. I think it seemed like more probably because we had so many
All the
more
kids,
families and
yeah.
kids, so.
But I was thrilled to see the families and all the children, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Director, but I think that we need to maybe work with the MRC to have a little bit, maybe more people interested in working with children, too.
Yeah. And actually maybe do a recruitment for nurses that,
I do know a
Feel comfortable
pediatrician who
with
said that she'd give vaccinations next year
Oh,
if you
good.
did.
really? Oh,
Wow,
good.
That's great.
I know her pretty well.
Would it have to do with your wife?
Pretty well I know her.
She's going to Italy with you.
She probably is, yeah.
Probably.
Probably is.
Either that or offer an in-service close to the time or the day for the just-in-time training that shows them how to do it and it's not really scary.
I think did you write that on your survey?
That was
Yeah.
mine.
So I'm working on the after-action report now, and taking those comments from the surveys and incorporating that into the after-action report. And I thought that was a good one, so I put that in as kind of like how we might be able to alleviate that, but there'll be more to come on this. I think what I'm gonna do is bring the information to a Board of Health meeting once I get the after-action report all done, and I'd like to talk to staff at our next staff meeting and kind of brainstorm about how we can, what we can do next year to kind of, we're always looking to improve. So how can we make improvements for next year?
The nurse should,
Oh, no,
sorry.
please go ahead.
The nurse should be able to help with the injections,
Yes.
the teaching. If
Teaching
we
the
have to
volunteers.
teach
Oh,
nurses.
our public health nurse, yeah.
Right.
What was I going to say? I want to just give another shout out to, and I think his first name was Sean, but the paramedic who stayed with us the entire time. It was totally extra time for him, very appreciative, and the police officer, I'm not recalling his name, who also stayed the entire
Yes.
time. But anyway, thank you to the Burlington Police and to the Burlington Fire Department for your willingness to share in the event. And the police officer who was directing traffic, super, super nice. thank you for that. Okay.
We also need to think about how we're going to handle the vaccine for individuals over 65. We turned away a significant amount of people who came in. We had signs up and they turned around and left. I think that either we incorporate them or we do better job in advertising that we're not going to have the elder vaccine. But it would be nice if we make a decision which way we're going to go, and we can talk about that in the future.
But we did have the high dose. We gave out a significant number before the flu clinic. Actually, we were out, and we did not have replacement for during the flu clinic.
Right, so we was shipped 100 doses, we had a total of 130 doses this year. Was shipped 100 doses prior to the clinic and gave that all out.
Which I think is impressive. So we gave out 100 high-dose vaccinations to age over 65 individuals this year.
Yep, and then we was shipped the additional 30 doses after the clinic, so we didn't have it at the time of the clinic. But we're giving it out, we're gonna be dispensing some of that this Friday. If there's anyone that is interested, they can call our office to see if we have any vaccines left, because sometimes people don't show up or aren't able to come. So we're trying to dispense the rest of that, within the next week or two.
I'll have to discuss whether the logistics of having another
Line.
or another, just the permutation, another permutation is important enough for this disaster drill flu clinic to do. We want to cater to everyone, so we'll have to discuss that as a board.
Yeah, and that's something that we can have this discussion too when I bring all this information back to the board about, because we're gonna have to make the decision pretty soon in, February 2019 as far as what we're gonna purchase for the following year. And then also too, there's budget considerations for that, because the high dose, if you're going to purchase more high dose vaccine, it's more expensive, and we're only allowed to spend a certain amount of money out of the revolving account. So we would have to go back to town meeting if you wanted to purchase more than, say, 130 doses, because right now, we're pretty much close to that spending amount of 20,000 that we have for that account.
Well, if we decide to do this, then we'll go back to town meeting. I don't think we'd have any problem. Town meeting understands what we do, and they understand clearly the benefit of the high dose, and they're a pretty smart group, and I don't think we'd have any problem with them.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think it's our decision, and then we can just go back to them.
So there'll be more on that. Also, I want to thank Lieutenant Mark Sayer, the Burlington Fire Department, because he dispensed to the emergency responders prior to the clinic. So we had, I brought some vaccine over to the fire department. He dispensed to firefighters and some of the police.
That's great.
Yeah.
I
That
didn't
was
realize
great.
that. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. The BVRC, we're having an appreciation dinner on December 5th. So that's going to be for any volunteers who volunteered this year. So that's our annual appreciation dinner, and the executive committee is working on putting that all together.
Is that going to be at the Grand View again?
Yep. And also the BVRC is doing a first aid station at the Turkey Trot this weekend. So the Recreation Department asked us to come to that to do first aid.
Excellent, thank you.
What happens when the turkeys break into a canter? Are they disqualified? Do they get eaten immediately? Are they fried? Is there a fryer there? What happens? I thought you would keep up on this information. I'm sorry, Director, go ahead.
That's it.
I want to make sure everyone heard that. I don't. I made no comment for the record. When do you want to foul? Excuse me.
Any other questions for our director? If not, the chair will.
I just have one question. You had to go to town council because of involving MRC trainings, or is that just,
Yeah, that was the active bystander training.
oh,
So I did go to town council about that. That was the one, Libby, you had sent it to me. It was from Quabbin Mediation.
Right.
I set it up with them. So, and Ed had suggested that we go to town council on that to find out if there's any liability associated with it. So the town council had forwarded me a form that volunteers can sign prior to the training to kind of cover that. So we'll make sure those forms get signed prior to the training. I just did, it's gonna be $300, so I just did a budget modification for our MRC budget. We had some leftover funds from our first aid training, so I submitted the modification for the $300 to conduct this active bystander training in April. So it's for up to 35 people. So it's a new training, so I'm thinking that we'll get a lot of interest in something different.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain what active bystander is?
So it teaches, well, it'd be mainly for our volunteers, but it's also can be for anybody, any member of the public, how to get involved or not get involved in a situation. So if they see a situation that could escalate into something else, mainly how to de-escalate any type of situation, and when they should do that and how they should do that.
Thank you. Good.
Any other questions for our director? If not, the chair will entertain a motion for approval of the
So moved,
report.
Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Any other issues, new business concerns? Please.
It's not new, well, it's not new business, not a concern, but just an update. Since our last meeting, the proposal that the committee on the cell phone towers had put forth and to the selectmen, came to the selectmen. The selectmen voted to go along, or to accept the proposal with comments. And at that point, Verizon withdrew their application.
Oh, wow.
So, we're going to be meeting again in December, because there are still some details that need to be worked out.
Even though Verizon withdrew?
Right, we're going to have subsequent applications from a variety of different sources, I'm quite sure. And this is all in preparation for 5G.
Any
Which is
indication
coming.
of, if you can share it, why Verizon withdrew with the comment?
I do not know, I haven't been able to get
Okay.
that information. But that's the update on the cell phone tower issues.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Any other issues? Aside from Thanksgiving is coming up, I wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, safe, enjoy time with family and friends. And the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn,
Mr. Chairman, before you adjourn,
or not.
the board wishes you a safe trip.
Thank you.
And seeing your daughter, who is studying in Italy, and I hope you have a safe and very nice trip.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings all around. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Good night, everyone. Be safe. Wash your hands.